The impulse buyer. The impulse buyer doesn't plan purchases. They see something, they want it, and they buy it. That is the entire process. No comparison shopping, no waiting to see if they still want it tomorrow. Studies show that impulse purchases account for up to 40% of all consumer spending. These are not careless people. They are people who experience desire as urgency. The moment of wanting feels more real than the cost of having. The problem is never one impulse buy. It is what happens when 1,000 of them add up.
The emotional spender. The emotional spender doesn't shop because they need something. They shop because they feel something. Stress, loneliness, boredom, even celebration. All of it becomes a reason to spend. Retail therapy is a real psychological pattern. Researchers have found that shopping temporarily activates the brain's reward system in the same way food and social connection do. The emotional spender often feels genuine relief after a purchase. The issue is that the feeling doesn't last, so they go back. Understanding the emotional spender isn't about criticizing their discipline. It's about recognizing that for many people, spending has become a coping mechanism.
The status spender. The status spender isn't buying a product, they are buying a signal. The designer bag, the luxury car, the first-class ticket, none of it is really about the item. It is about what owning the item communicates to other people. Economist Thorstein Veblen described this behavior over 100 years ago and called it conspicuous consumption. Not much has changed. Studies show that status spending increases when people feel economically insecure or socially inferior. The status spender is using money to bridge a gap between who they are and who they want to be seen as. The expense is real. The identity it is buying is borrowed.
The bargain hunter. The bargain hunter believes they have cracked the code. They never buy anything full price. They wait for sales, stack coupons, and drive across town to save $3. On the surface, this looks like discipline. But a study from the Journal of Marketing Research found that bargain hunters often spend more overall than non-bargain hunters, because finding a deal feels like winning. And once you are in a winning mindset, it becomes easy to buy things you never needed. The bargain hunter doesn't waste money recklessly. They waste it methodically, one great deal at a time.
The minimalist. The minimalist has decided that most spending is noise. They own fewer things intentionally. They research before every purchase. They return things easily. Their relationship with money is almost surgical. The minimalist approach gained mainstream attention through figures like Marie Kondo and the FIRE movement. But the core idea is ancient. Spend less than you earn. Own only what serves you. What makes the minimalist unusual is not that they spend less. It is that they feel no social pressure to spend more. They have made peace with enough. And in a world designed to make you want more, that is genuinely rare.
The experience buyer. The experience buyer doesn't spend money on things. They spend it on moments. Travel, concerts, restaurants, weekend trips. This is where their money goes. And according to behavioral economists, they may be the smartest spenders of all. Research consistently shows that experiences generate more lasting happiness than material goods. Things depreciate and eventually fade into the background of life. A trip taken, a meal remembered, a concert seen, those become stories, identity, memory. The experience buyer isn't frivolous. They have simply figured out what actually makes them happy, and they spend accordingly.
The guilt spender. The guilt spender lives in a cycle. They restrict for a while, sometimes aggressively. Then they break. They splurge. Then the guilt kicks in. Then they restrict again. It repeats. Psychologists compare this pattern to the restrict binge cycle seen in other areas of behavior. The guilt spender's problem isn't willpower. It is the belief that spending is inherently bad, which makes every normal purchase feel like a failure. The real damage isn't the splurge. It is the cycle itself, which makes sustainable financial habits nearly impossible to build.
The social spender. The social spender doesn't decide how much to spend. Their social circle does. Dinner at that restaurant because everyone else is going. The vacation because the group trip is happening.
The wardrobe update because the people around them dress a certain way. This isn't weakness, it is human nature. Economists call it social proof. We look to others to determine appropriate behavior, including spending behavior. The problem is that the social spender often has no idea how much they are spending or why. They are not following a budget, they are following a group, and groups are expensive.
The planner. The planner has a spreadsheet, possibly several. Every purchase has a category. Every category has a cap. Every month ends with a review. The planner represents what most personal finance advice points toward, and they know it. What they sometimes miss is flexibility. Life does not fit neatly into a budget. Unexpected expenses, spontaneous opportunities, the simple joy of buying something unplanned, planners can struggle with all of it. The best version uses structure as a foundation. The worst version uses it as a way to feel superior about money while quietly missing out on living.
The ghost. The ghost is the most common and the least talked about. The ghost doesn't know where their money goes. Not exactly. They earn, they spend, and by the end of the month, something is always gone, but they couldn't tell you what. Studies show the average person underestimates their monthly spending by over 40%. That is not laziness. That is the result of a world built to make spending invisible. Subscriptions, contactless payments, one-click checkout. The ghost isn't irresponsible by nature. They are simply operating without a map in a system specifically designed to take their money quietly and efficiently.
And maybe that is the uncomfortable part. Most people think spending is about discipline, but a lot of the time, spending is a pattern, a coping mechanism, a signal, a habit, a blind spot. You are not just what you buy, but your wallet does leave clues. So which one are you? The impulse buyer? The planner? The ghost? Or the one who recognized someone else the entire time?